Cobb TV. Watch your life make sense.
Welcome to Ask the Kabbalist, where you ask the questions and with me, ready to answer them, as always, Kabbalist Dr. Michael Laitman. How are you, Dr. Laitman? Before we'll begin with the first question, I'll remind, as always, you go to tv.Kabbalah.info for sending your questions, and right there you have an Ask the Kabbalist page. You click it, and then you can submit video questions, audio questions, or text questions. And our first question today is coming from Diana. Diana is from Baltimore, and she's asking, Dr. Laitman, what is your view on what's happening right now with Wikileaks? On the one hand, it's being prosecuted, and on the other hand, there's a Norwegian lawmaker that offered to nominate Wikileaks for a Nobel Peace Prize. What is your opinion on this, and where do you see this in terms of humanity's development?
The question is, to what extent does it contribute to the development of humanity? No matter what's been said about it, either from those who discovered it or from those who nominated it to receive a Nobel Prize, and in general this whole thing about the court case, all of that is just unimportant. What is important is why is it being revealed now, since there is nothing incidental in nature, even in the human society, of course. And if such things are revealed, like revolutions that are made, that it seems to us that it suddenly just comes by, but it's not sudden. There are things in nature that are slowly prepared, and then they outbreak and they're discovered. That's how it is in everything. Just like we're now examining the entire process of the universe, of Earth, of the vegetative and animate world, and the human beings that have evolved on this planet. In the same way, we should observe human society's development.
So basically you're saying that whether it's the Big Bang or whether it's the evolution of quantum physics or the time of Enlightenment or the Renaissance or the French Revolution, these are all rooted in nature's plan.
Everything is revealed in its time. And there is nothing incidental here. That's why, also in the Wikileaks, we need to understand that the fact that it's being discovered, and in our times especially, what does that tell us? It tells us that humanity has to be open. People need to stop lying to one another, because they end up paying for it. It brings them troubles instead, also on the human level, and also on the nature's level. That is why, from now on onwards, there is this different government of the world, seemingly, and we see how this Wikileaks started revolutions. That's right. We're beginning to see that the masses, the people that are beginning to be organized through this virtual connection among them, mobile phones, tweeters and emails and so on, all these different means. So it's turning into a very powerful force that you can't stop it. And this force, although there is military and there are other bodies that can seemingly oppress this, but you can't do it anymore because now you're open to the whole world, thanks to that form of connection. We can see that the internet, that is, the actual network that ties everyone together, it actually changes reality. We come from a global, integral world We're moving towards a system that everything is interconnected and things are transmitted from one place to the other very simply, just like a virus, and all these different phenomena take place. They ignite these different audiences which are tied to one another, that observe it, they talk about it, they nourish off the same sources, and then this single humanity is beginning to be formed. Each one can see and look at the others and ask, why don't I have that, or why is that happening to them? And that person can change in his own country the same things. The Wikileaks is a great sign. It's a sign to this new form of connection between everyone, that we have to let go of this false connection that these financial pyramids were built by, and, well, it almost brought the world to destruction. We are soon also going to feel that. It hasn't just passed by. We're still in that crisis. And Wikileaks says that each and every government that wants to, behind the scenes even, wants to do something, it won't work out. We're in like a single family. And therefore, to the extent that we'll realize that all we need to do is sit down and talk, we have to give in to one another. We have to, each and every one of us, compel the others that the United Nations will be a united nation and not just a game of a few different groups, a few political forces, that the well-being of the world will be the first most important problem that everyone discusses, and not how I, through this mechanism, through the United Nations or the G20, not how I can convey my politics. It's as if I don't care about anything, only about myself, about my method, my country. We must understand that today we're unable to reach a state of world peace or profit, and such revelations like Wikileaks, or all these kinds of revolutions.
Right, like in Egypt.
Yeah, they're actually virtual.
Yeah, it seems like the internet is standing in the midst of all
yes.
this. It's, from what you're saying, it sounds like this pyramid is reversing. It's like the masses all of a sudden, they have the upper hand all of a sudden. This is what's happening, and the internet stands in the midst. How is it that a technological tool becomes the arena for these social changes?
There is no technological means that does this. It's us doing it. The internet, all of the forms of connection, mobile phones and so on, that is a result of us being connected even more, the world becoming around, becoming single. That is why, out of lack of choice, also from our tendency towards it, we develop these different kinds of means, devices. Therefore, what we'll see in the next few years is the connection between us will grow, and if the governments will be against it, we'll all do a revolution. We won't agree to it. The people, the world, the audience will not agree with this kind of division, with this kind of oppression. It won't agree to the different forms which are against being one. And that comes to us from nature, through the different audiences.
Do you see this whole regime of government and parliament continuing the way it is, or changing altogether, completely? Do you see democracy the way it is today changing?
I think that we need to educate the leaders. Who's we? All of us, together. We have to see the world as round. And the leaders that sit down, they should discuss it together, not about one part or another part of the world. No, that's impossible. We're tied to each other to such an extent that it's impossible that there will be an occurrence on one side of the world and it won't affect the other side. We can see how different kinds of trade, or if borders are shut down, how it influences everyone. For example, the Suez Canal was shut down for a week. Look what happened with the fuel, with the prices all over the world. Everyone felt it. Therefore, we need to understand that the leaders need to discuss the entire world, the connected form of humanity, which is interdependent. And although there might be the collision of different interests, however, even though, in spite of this collision, we still need an upper government, call it that there you discuss all these matters, like in a family, that there might be a collision of interests here and there, in the extended family, for example, but they still take each other into consideration and compromise.
What about groups of terrorists? There are groups of terrorists in the world, like Hezbollah, like Hamas, like Taliban. Should they be in the government too?
They should be accepted to that same government as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. They have a certain goal, not just to kill people, but they should be given the opportunity to express themselves, to bring themselves to the correct form, like everyone else. And they also should participate. Also Hamas, like we had here, all those kind of groups. Also Al-Qaeda, all the other groups as well in South America, in Africa. They should be part of this conversation, part of this connection. They should be given a respectable place in the world government in order for them to be able to present themselves. Only like that you'll have the opportunity, the ability to work with everyone. This general world government should include all the different sects, like the United Nations, but in a broader manner and also in a more corrected manner. The UN today is just a political force that each one tries to implement their own interest there. And we need to think about something more global, something real. Therefore, it seems to me that if we'll all work, everyone, all over the world, if we will all bring everyone together into this one government, and if this government will discuss the well-being of the entire world equally, that the global human society, that will be the purpose, the concern, and that will bring us closer to balance with nature, as we said earlier. Then we'll reach a state that everyone participates, and by that we'll open up a new future to the world. Otherwise, it will be discovered anyway, but in turbulences, in very, very unpleasant events.
You know, as we're talking about the UN, I know that you yourself met with the head of UNESCO just recently. So, I don't know, perhaps you can explain what exactly things perhaps you were discussing, or what issues, or did you speak about this idea of one general government like the UN, or?
No. These things, nothing to do with UNESCO. UNESCO deals with education. And we actually engage only with education. We have nothing to do with any political party. We see education as the key for the better futuristic humanity. And that can be done only by education, by educating people, so that they'll feel what world they live in. From this mutual state, they'll reach the new world, the new global world. That's why we spoke about it there. And next week, we're going to fly to New York. We were invited to take part in a UN convention regarding the education of youth. And also in Europe, we're going to go to another convention there later on. We're going to participate in that. Meaning our organization, as an educational organization, that sees it very positively. But most important is to raise the issue of education about the global world, about this new reality being revealed. And that is what we actually need to explain to many people. Even people who engage in education in the world and these great organizations, they are still not yet aware of this new world. This pyramid is inverting, and today the masses, through connecting in these virtual networks, or phone connection, never mind, they're becoming the crucial part. Beforehand, they were just manipulated by different leaders, the great, seemingly great ones. But today, they can, in a very quick dynamics, they can change these audiences, these masses, and from one country to another, or between countries, to such an extent that there is no way that the individuals will be able to draw the people after them. Because the media today belongs to everyone. And that's why also such professions like journalism,
like a journalist, or
they also need to invert. They still haven't understood. Because this audience is usually against the media. Because the media isn't going together with it. The media is publicizing different scandals, different problems, that it's worthwhile for the media to publicize in order to sell. You can see according to their titles.
Yeah, they have their own agenda, their own kind of...
No, not just the agenda.
Promotes it.
The way they present the material, they do it in a loudest manner, provocative.
You mean promoting sensationalism? Yes.
All in order to sell. And the people can't stand it. It just distorts everything it does. And that's why the people, they hate the media. And you can see what happened in Egypt and in other places as well. They were thrown out, vandalized, and so on. So until the media will start serving the masses in a direct, positive manner, it will need to escape them everywhere. I see they're going to have great problems. In 2010, 44 people from the media were killed, and billions of dollars in damage was done to the media, to their property, that is. That is all because there is great hatred towards the media. If you want to be involved in what goes on in the world, you have to be as a mirror, as a replication of the world. The internet, the mobile phone, all those connections, they do the job, because that's the people themselves activating this. But the media, no. Until that reach that form, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be an increase in conflict.
It's interesting, actually, what you said about the media. Even with the young generation, I think to them, media is only the internet today. This is regular TV and news and newspapers is out of the horizon even.
Yes, but the media is also on the internet. It's just different form, digital, but it's the same media. I'm talking about the attitude. Also, when I surf the internet, surf the web, and I read different papers, the digital issues, it's the same. Yeah. Whoever writes it, they present it provocatively. What does he present? Whatever's worthwhile for him. You see differences between one place to another. It's not these analytics that people have different views, but there's a filter here on every single item. What should we do, what we shouldn't do, what direction, what theme, and therefore it will have to change. It will have to change. Just like we say that there has to be a general government, a world government that will take care of the entire world like one family, the media too have to be by the side of this government and by the nation, by the whole world as one family, and they should serve us just like that.
So you're saying the media needs to be transparent, just reflecting what's happening without any bringing their opinion and promoting that as news, yeah? Okay. Okay, let's go on to something different. It's about coming from the realm of science, another text question. Let's see, we had just like 4 minutes. Let's see if we can answer this. Robert from San Antonio is asking the following. He says, I've read that leading scientists, such as cosmologists Stephen Hawking, as well as Paul Davis, are talking about time travel. What is your take on that? If science talks about it, is this really possible? Does it have to do with spirituality? What do you think?
I don't think in 4 minutes that we have left we can really go delve into this matter, but let me just say one thing. There is no time. Time is a delusion. That's the way we exist, but outside of us, time does not exist. If we would be able to see reality outside of ourselves, it's impossible. It's always through man, it's always through the person, through the observer. But if we would be able to, then we would understand that we're not limited to time or space or motion, but time, space and motion are dimensions that are in our perception, in our mind, and that's why we perceive reality that way, that everything is according to time, space and motion. Therefore, if we rise through the study of the wisdom of Kabbalah to a higher dimension, there, the time, space and motion receive different definitions, different forms. We begin to feel time as an order of actions that have no dependence on the clock or the earth revolving around the sun. Distance isn't even distance because we begin to feel the distance that it occurs within us. So this distance is measured according to the degree one of our qualities is distant from the other. That's how we measure distance. And time and motion are the changes we go through that can occur according to the way I determine that I want to change by different means, like, for example, the environment, the study, and by doing so, I can increase the pace of my development, called motion, to such an extent that instead of seeing the world develop throughout billions of years, it will just be inverted and I'll see it developing in a second, in a few minutes. Time, space and motion are subject to change by us. That's what the wisdom of Kabbalah says. It gives a person the opportunity to change that. Then we can move in time, in motion, in space, however we want, wherever we want, and we can reach anything. Just fantasize.
Okay, so Robert, I actually, as Dr. Laitman said, this is a way too vast of a question for just a couple of minutes. So you can go to Kabbalah.info, and all our viewers, you can go to Kabbalah.info and deepen into the material and find more and more things to read and watch there. And we'll have to conclude and wrap up at this point. I want to thank you very much, Dr. Laitman, for all the answers today. And I want to thank you for watching and for posting questions, and you can post more questions. Go to tv.kabbalah.info, click the Ask the Kabbalist page, and you can submit a question in any form, video, audio, or text. Until then, thank you very much and all the best.